Just about 18 minutes after the hour of 7 o'clock, welcome back to the Now Morning Show on this Wednesday morning. Now, the Volunteer Center of Trinidad and Tobago, in collaboration with the Princess Trust International, is launching its second iteration of the To We Mentorship Programme. And joining me to talk more about this is Director of the Volunteer and Partner Impact at the Volunteer Center, Miss Nicole Kisoon, and Youth Development Specialist at the To We Mentorship Steering Committee, Mr. Jeffrey Edwards. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us on Now.
Good morning. Thank you for having us.
Now, Ms. Kisoon, I'm going to start with you first because the mentorship program that's coming up, just give us a little bit more details about it.
So VCTT exists to create a culture of placing people at the heart of change.
Right.
And with that in mind, Me Too We was born, basically. And we are building on the concept, it takes a village to raise a child. So building on that, we had a very successful first iteration last year. Coming out of it, we discovered all kinds of wonderful things, and that increased the overall health and civic consciousness of the youth that we engaged in. At that time, we engaged with 30 from 4 schools across the East-West Corridor and 1 in Tobago. This time we're being a bit more adventurous. We're trying to, upscale and of course have a further reach, I would say.
Yes.
And we would like to do 6 schools this time with a cohort of about 50 young persons. So that's where we are at right now. It's very important, and I mean, we want to make it the collective. So with every village, you have your aunties, your uncles, your sisters, your aunt, everybody. We want everyone. We're trying to curate the best mentors for this cohort of 50 persons. We want only the best because it's as a collective we can make that change. We can provide for the persons who are in need, basically. And sometimes it starts very small. So even if it's just you volunteer for your time or you sign up to become a mentor, this is where we want you. We want you as part of this program.
Now, one of the things you mentioned is that during that first session, you'd have seen some amazing things come out of it. What were some of those amazing things that you experienced?
So we start every program with doing assessments first of the kids and of course getting their parents involved. And we go through a rigorous process to make sure that we get the best persons to mentor and counsel and have these one-on-one sessions. In the midst of COVID, we had to switch to a hybrid approach, and we are maintaining the hybrid approach moving forward. So we saw mentees' self-esteem improve monumentally. They were more comfortable with exploring and expressing their gifts, their talents, some of which they didn't even know they exist. And it was just parents hearing those testimonies that, your child was so impacted and they felt more comfortable and they became more interactive at school, and then they wanted to help more in their own communities. It was just really something to see. We do have the data to support it, and of course those reports will always be shared.
Now, I would have worked with an organization who worked with the Volunteer Center before, and one of the things we realized is that a lot of women volunteers step up, but we don't have the men who are coming forward. And I believe you can speak to that a little bit more, Mr. Jeffrey.
Definitely. It's very important that we take this opportunity to make a call to the men of Trinidad and Tobago to step up, to be a buffer for the development of young persons, to ensure that there is empathy and sympathy development. And it's interesting enough that service to man is service to God. And how can we as men be able to add value, step away from just being on the block, in the rum shops, and be service to our young men? And as the data has shown is that we had more females being a part as mentors. Now we're asking for men to be able to say, here what, how can I be a big brother? How can I be an uncle to a young person who I may not know? We have the concept of iron sharpens iron. And even with me having an 18-year-old son, he has taught me how to love. He has taught me how to hug. He doesn't leave me without hugging. And as a matter of fact, yes, I grew up with a dad. I grew up with 3 other brothers. But that young man has even helped me as an individual. And I think it's important to understand that being a mentor also helps you develop as an individual. The power of mentorship across the board is not only for young persons, it's for entire life journey. And we as men have to be able to understand how important the community is and the villages, and we've been a part of it.
So many important things coming out of what you said. Let me see if I can break it down. So the first thing I wanted to know is, what do you think is that block that men almost see as a deterrent to them volunteering?
We don't know. We don't know that these opportunities exist. We don't know that we need to be mentored. We don't know that we need to mentor. And that's very important. Reading A Purpose-Driven Life by Rick Warren actually taught me that we need to be able to create that community. Women have that community. Women have the community whereby they could be able to sit down for hours and speak about their date. How was the date, brother? It was okay. And that's it. We don't speak. We don't speak up, and we don't speak to what is important. And we have to be able to get men to speak to men, males to speak to males. That is very important.
And also going back to what you said in terms of, you know, your son hugging you.
Yes.
I mean, how did you get to that moment? Because I'm sure there are a lot of fathers, even mothers, who want to know, you know, why is there this relationship? Yes, there's the father in the household, but there's not that close bond between father and son. They don't hug, they don't tell each other, Daddy, I love you, son, I love you. How did you get to that point with your own son?
It's very important to understand that it has to be personal, but it also has to be intentional. Because when when a mother makes a child, she has that relationship. But if I am accustomed to watching EPL football every Saturday, but now I have to take my son to football practice, I have to break a bond, I have to break a tradition, right? So it has to be intentional. I have to be able to say, I'm going to hug you and spend 15 seconds, 1, 2 to 15, to be able to embrace and feel that. And this is what we are asking in terms of men, to step up and get to hugging somebody else. You may not know the person, but your life will change. And it's important that you understand that even with his 50 kids, it's 50 new ones. And we could add value as we go along.
Now, anything before we close, just to let men understand how important it is we need them to step up into these volunteer and mentorship roles?
Let's just look at it from the standpoint of, if you did not know, now you know. And because we are coming to you using this platform, now it is your opportunity to be able to make the first step and contact us, to be able to say, this is what you want to do. This is how we want to add value to your life.
And how can they reach out to you?
Well, I will let Nicole.
Via our social media.
Yes, and also to tell us the ages as well, because is it, for example, let's say a retiree who is at home, he has a lot of time on his hands. Is this for him? Is this for the child who just finished school? I mean, is there a cap on the age limit?
So our cohort this time is between the ages of 16 to 18.
Wow, okay.
And it's basically what we term our undeserved youth in some of the areas that we have the most challenges. Yeah. We have no restrictions on our call for mentors. So we would like the widest range to include the most diversity possible so that each child's needs are met. You may bring to the table that you can counsel them in terms of, you know, social interaction. Somebody might be able to tutor them in something that they're having problems with at school. And then it may be have a child who has an interest in art, and we can also help to drive and develop that. So we don't have an age cap, so we want everyone to reach out, bring your skills, bring your talent, bring something to the table. Look at it as an opportunity for you yourself, of course, to develop, because you will learn, you will grow, you will build, and add to your legacy. You're going to create, because we are curating a legacy in our own, but you will also be able to do that through this program. We definitely believe
it's
that.
It's important to understand that the concept of volunteerism in Trinidad and Tobago, and sometimes in the Caribbean, is non-existent. Because we have become a selfish people. Let's deal with the elephant in the room. We need to stop that. We need to recognize that the time that we have on this earth is precious time, and it doesn't mean only for ourselves. It means to be able to help other persons. So I'm calling out on the men of Trinidad and Tobago to be able to, hear what? I could take one day away from Lyman and spend with somebody else. Give back. What does it mean to give back?
In terms of the pool as well, are we only looking at Trinidad, or are you sourcing people from Tobago?
There's one school, Goodwood in Tobago.
Nice.
So until we can expand, of course, across different islands, right now one school in Tobago and the rest are from Trinidad.
Okay. And is there a certain amount of hours, a number of hours you have to give, let's say, per week or per month?
So as it is right now, the schedule, it's basically a commitment of at least about 2 to 3 hours per week. There's many-to-one sessions, which would be basically groups sessions where we have a curriculum that was developed to target that. And then we have those one-on-one sessions where you meet with your mentee 1 day for the week, and you go through what it is I've basically laid out, and you learn more about them, you learn more about yourself as well.
And when you apply to become a volunteer, is it that you're going to get trained, or you bring what you have and then you will use that to the mentees?
So as I said, we have a rigorous process because we want to make sure we have the best.
Yes.
So we go through, of course, our normal recruitment process, and you are provided with all the training and tools, orientation, everything from VCTT and partners.
It's very important to understand that safeguarding children is critical.
Yep.
Right? And the To We Mentorship Programme ensures that. So the children who are involved, the adults are very much analyzed as best and as much as. And yes, we want the best, but sometimes, Christ used the worst to be able to, God used the worst to be able to get the message out. So we also recognize that it doesn't mean that even though she keeps saying the best, yes, we do, but at the same point in time, volunteer, because we can be able to help you be a better person. We have many, the vineyard is wide. Find somewhere in the vineyard to be able to toil.
And finally, Ms. Kisoon, anybody who wants more information, where can they go to get more info?
Just check out our social media profiles, Instagram and Facebook. We have a link that you can sign up. And of course, you can also send us a message and we'll reach out to you directly as well. So please do definitely volunteer with us for this Me To We program.
Yes, the Me To We program, of course, and we're calling all the men come out and support and come out and be mentored and be a mentor to somebody in need. Ms. Kisoon, Mr. Jeffrey Edwards, thank you so much for joining us on Now.
Thank you very much.
We have so much more coming up in the show. Stay with us. You're on the Now Morning Show on a Wednesday morning.